All right, for some more analysis, let's now speak to Makram Rabah. He is an assistant professor of history at the American University of Beirut and joins us from Dubai. A very good morning to you. So there's much talk of a potential ceasefire deal. How high are your hopes based on what you're hearing?
Well, the idea that the ceasefire will actually materialize is actually a fact. However, one has to read between the lines. The issue is here, we're not looking at something very much similar to 1701, which was implemented in the summer of 2006, but rather we are looking at a kind of a monitored ceasefire, one in which the Israelis have the upper hand, and more importantly, sir, there is a side deal between the Americans and the Israelis, which renders all this ceasefire or peace deal futile, because at the end of the day, the Israelis have been given the green light by the Americans to strike inside Lebanon at any moment when they see there's a potential threat, which brings us back to the idea, who will lead the reconstruction process? It's not really a matter of a ceasefire, but can Lebanon and the people of Lebanon transition into a new era? And this is where I'm a bit skeptical that this is possible at this particular moment in time.
So Israel wants to see Hezbollah disarmed and away from the border, and we've so far heard little from Hezbollah leaders. But do you believe that this is something that Hezbollah would accept?
Well, one has to remind himself there's nothing called Hezbollah on its own. Hezbollah is part and parcel of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. And this is not an accusation. This is a statement by the late Hassan Nasrallah. And thus, I believe now that Iran wishes to actually be on the good side of President Trump. And in fact, I think that Hezbollah has no way out of this other than the ceasefire. Its total leadership have been assassinated. Its military infrastructure have been destroyed. And at this particular moment in time, there's a problem that the Lebanese do not understand, that the Israelis will not disarm Hezbollah. The Israelis don't want a potential threat on their border. And this is why they only care about the south of the Litani area. So in a way, yes, Hezbollah, they want a peace, they want a ceasefire, and more importantly, they want to use their weapons, which are their stockpiling, to dominate Lebanon rather than destroy Israel, as they claim.
So let's just get one thing clear. So because before Hassan Nasrallah was killed by an Israeli airstrike, Hezbollah said there would be no let-up in fighting before a ceasefire in Gaza is achieved. So why do you think that's changed now?
Well, particularly because all the dynamics have changed. One more very, very important thing here, sir, is that Gaza is no longer there to support it. And more importantly, I think that by killing Nasrallah and his top leadership, they have forced the hand of Hezbollah. I truly believe that Nasrallah did not want to go into a full-scale war. However, the Israelis used the opportunity of October 7 and everything that's happening to neutralize Hezbollah's threat south of the Litani. So here, this so-called narrative that they have connected the fronts, so to speak, have been shattered by what happened on the ground, and basically the fact that we have over 1.5 million of displaced Shiite citizens who need to go back home. And this is really where we have to ask the question, who will pay the money and who will lead the reconstruction process? As it stands, we have no indication that the Israelis will allow the return of these people, because many of these, the last time I counted, more than 25 villages have been razed to the ground, including its infrastructure.
How will a potential ceasefire deal between Israel and Lebanon, say, influence the war in Gaza?
It has no influence whatsoever, because at the end of the day, I don't believe that Iran actually cares about the civilians, both in Gaza and in Lebanon. It might have a kind of a negative implication in actually empowering Netanyahu's hawkish narrative, but it won't have any practical implications, because both the Israelis as well as the Iranians are looking towards January, 20th of January, when Trump will take office, and we are heading towards a new era in the region. However, this new era does not really translate well for the people who are displaced, be it in Gaza or in Lebanon.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there. Makram Rabah with the American University of Beirut, thanks for your analysis this morning.
Thank you, sir.